Hello, everyone, and welcome to my podcast where we talk about anything from current events to favorite pizza toppings. I'm your host, Katie Reed, and today's discussion is about the environmental issues impacting the Alaska Native Tribe reservations. Native American Rights Fund and the Center on Race, Poverty, and the Environment, as well as 6 law firms, filed a lawsuit on behalf of a tiny and impoverished Alaskan village of Inupiat natives located in the Arctic Circle against industrial corporations that emit large quantities of greenhouse gases. The Inupiat natives are a group of Alaska natives whose traditional territory roughly spans from Norton Sound to the northernmost part of Canada. Their current communities include 34 villages across their lands. Inupiat people are hunter-gatherers, as are most Arctic peoples. They continue to rely heavily on subsistence hunting and fishing. The Inupiat people have grown more concerned in recent years that climate change is threatening their lifestyle in numerous ways. For example, thinning sea ice, which makes it more difficult to harvest bowhead whales, seals, and walrus and other traditional foods. The thinning sea ice also makes travel much more dangerous and less predictable because people can fall through the ice and it contributes to increased flooding. The Inuit Circumpolar Council has made the case that climate change represents a threat to their human rights. This specific lawsuit included the native village of Kavalina, who faces imminent destruction from global warming due to the melting of the sea ice that formerly protected the village from storms. They filed a lawsuit on their own behalf against ExxonMobil, Peabody Energy Corporation, American Electric Power Company, Duke Energy Company, Chevron Corporation, Shell Oil Corporation, and more. There are 9 oil company defendants, 14 electric power company defendants, and 1 coal company defendant. The suit claims, as quoted from the article by NARF Legal Review, damages due to the defendant company's contributions to global warming and invokes the federal common law of public nuisance. The residents of Kavalina are among the nation's poorest communities, so this lawsuit's outcome will have a huge impact on them. People argue that the deception and denial about global warming must stop and that reports from the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers and Government Accountability Office have noticed that Kavalina is directly impacted by global warming and must, I quote, relocate at an expense that could cost $400 million or more. Global climate changes have been causing an insane amount of loss of habitat and erosion in the Arctic. NARF's Alaska office knew it was time to seek compensation from industry polluters for the cost of village location, and they believe that village relocation was necessary. Among the companies targeted was ExxonMobil. In an article by NBC News, a spokesman for the company said they were reviewing the lawsuit but had no immediate comment on it. A spokesman for BP in Alaska said he had not seen the lawsuit and had no comment as well. In the article, they described the actions that ExxonMobil has taken to help improve climate change. It stated, ExxonMobil is taking action by reducing greenhouse gas emissions in our operations, supporting research into technology breakthroughs, and participating in constructive dialogues on policy options with NGOs, industry, and policymakers. But ExxonMobil is one of the top 3 producers of oil and the largest holder of discovered gas resources on Alaska's North Slope. On their website, they stated how their history with Alaska first started with drilling their first well at Yakataga Beach in 1925. From then, they have expanded up the coast to various places, including Norton Sound, the location of a few Inupiat villages. Their argument is that their abundance of oil resources in Alaska can help them meet the instant energy needs and could bring commercial volumes to the broader marketplace. They also argue that the development of their sources will provide a variety of benefits to Alaska, including new revenue, jobs, and business opportunities. The suit ended up being dismissed by the United States District Court on September 30, 2009, on the grounds that regulating greenhouse emissions was a political rather than a legal issue and needed to be resolved by Congress and administration rather than the courts. An appeal was filed in 2009, and then September 12, the appeals judge decided not to reinstate the case. The city tried again and appealed to the U.S. Supreme Court, and in May of 2013, the Supreme Court justices decided not to hear the claim, and that ended the city's legal battle. They forget to consider, though, that climate change is permanent and much more impactful than an opening for job opportunities like ExxonMobil said. Up to 9 Alaska Native villages are in danger of being washed away and destroyed by the effects of global warming. Many have already lost buildings to the ocean due to melting permafrost and increased storms. If the lawsuit was a win, the villages would have been able to safely relocate without impacting their livelihoods as much as it could have. While the money could have been sufficient enough to allow the natives to safely relocate without losing money from their homes or belongings, their entire lives would have changed because they would no longer be on their native land. However, this is clearly a rightful legal battle, as the climate change caused by the greenhouse emissions of the companies have directly affected the lives of the Kaivalina village people and put the lives in danger of many Alaskan tribes. Climate change impact is colossal, and I'm hoping this podcast made you all more aware how it is impacting the Arctic and what we can do to help.